The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer inebriation is advised, though not mandatory.
Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to Last Call, where tonight I want to encourage everyone who started out this year with a resolution to get fit and lose a bit of weight. Maybe you're still doing well on that goal, maybe 2 months on you've fallen off, or maybe you didn't make such a resolution, but you're thinking about it. Well, I've invited a special guest to help us out. His name is James Hawthorn, and he is a National Academy of Sports Medicine multi-certified personal trainer and fitness nutrition specialist. So top off your glasses, get comfortable, tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, and give our guest a big last call welcome. The Canarble Wagon rolls right now.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Dava salud. Welcome back. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, this is, I know it's a little bit different, but I am really fired up about this stream. I got some things to share, and I think this is going to be, if you don't think it's on brand, that's okay. I think this is something that's very important, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Hey, trust me. Have I ever steered you wrong? You wouldn't still be here if I'd steered you wrong. But, so, what are you sipping on? Let me know in the chat. I am having myself, well, this is, I got a meme for that.
Quality is our legacy. Handcrafted, barrel aged. Go ahead, you deserve it. Glenn Gooley, for the best of times.
And, of course, as you know, Glenn Gooley is fictitious.
Hey, phrase it!
Yeah, so it's actually, of course, Glenn Fittich. It's a, I'm not drinking it straight. I'm having a Rob Roy. So that is 2 ounces of the Glenn Fittich, 1 ounce of the Cokie Americano red, sweet, and, of course, 2 drunk. There were 2 drunken cherries. I'll have to work my way down now. Yeah, so I do have the bottles up here, but sadly they're both empty. So if you feel as sad as I do that the Glenn Fittich and the Cokie Americano are gone, links at the top if you want to buy me a drink. Just saying. Let me quick say hi to everybody who is here in the chat. Oh my gosh, so many of you here. So first up we have PJ from Orville Nation. Welcome, my friend. I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have this guest tonight. Indirectly, but you know, yeah, seriously. Thanks so much for being here. I know it's like 3, 4 in the morning where you're at. Totally understand. If you catch us Memorex, that's perfectly fine.
It's the weekend.
It is the weekend, I understand. Big Al, I am in shape. Round is a shape. Yep, have a great stream. He just dropped a great 10-word review. Make sure you check out his channel if you get the chance. Of course, the bird woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see. Of course, David Pensack. A very good evening to you and everyone, including Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. Hip hip hurrah and tally-ho. And of course, my lovely wife, Netter, is dropping the contact information for our guest tonight. We will talk more about him in just a moment. Evelyn Hampton, the Admiral herself. Kapla, Admiral. Good to see you. You're sipping on an apple juice. Well, cheers. Cheers. Let's see. do some homework for doing an homework for an upcoming stream. We'll catch up afterwards. Well, salute. That's perfectly understandable. Deleted scenes. Of course, my designated driver, Aged Boomer, who I'll be bringing in shortly. Keely Chow, good to see you, my friend. Hey. JPRPH1, good evening, folks. Yes, and we were hanging out yesterday in Dr. Marissa's stream together, so you already know our guest tonight, and saw you again today, so cheers. Thanks so much for being here, my friend. Jose. Jesse Guajardo, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. And I'm already halfway into this Rob Roy. That's a rewatch we're going to have to do sometime real soon, Rob Roy. And let's see, going through real quick. If I miss anybody, make sure you stop me. Say hi again. Matanui, it's always good to see you, my friend. I know you can't stay with us too late, but we always appreciate you being here. And I think that catches us up. People will continue to file in for at least the next 10 minutes as the announcement that the stream has gone live goes out. Let us bring in my designated driver, because I'm already starting to feel a little warm around the ears. Aged Boomer, my friend, how are you doing, and what are you sipping on?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm sipping on an unsweet iced tea.
Is it a work night tonight? Do you have to work tomorrow?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I figured we were having a fitness guy on. Maybe.
You wanted to be a little healthy. You want to get
it's not healthy.
Brown nosing the teacher. It's not
no
as
sugar
bad,
in it, at least, right? I don't know. Of course, he's going to dispel some.
Well, he's going to dispel some myths.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to tell us, a little bit of sugar isn't so bad. We'll find out. We'll see what he has to say about that.
I have a water too, but yeah.
As a chaser. Well, that's fair too.
Yes.
And Netter of Netter's Network, my lovely wife, how are you doing, sweetie, and what are you sipping on?
I am doing well, and I'm healthier than all y'all. I'm drinking a Waterloo Black Cherry Sparkling Water.
You like that? Is that good?
Yeah.
Good. I'm sorry.
No, it tastes horrible. That's why I'm drinking it.
That's why you're drinking it, right. And the reason you're not drinking Riesling right now is because your thoughtless husband did not put it in to chill, so I understand. Yeah, I know. I bought her another bottle and everything. Didn't bother to chill it, so. But
it's okay.
That's okay. My bouncer is staying sober tonight, so you all watch yourselves. Okay. So let me bring up my notes here because I want to make sure I do them justice. I already touched on some of this in my opening monologue. James Hawthorn is a National Academy of Sports Medicine multi-certified personal trainer and fitness nutrition specialist with more than 15 years experience helping clients between the ages of 15 and 84. That's a bit of a range. I think that pretty much covers my audience. I think we're doing good there. To achieve a variety of goals. He is also an IRONMAN triathlete. Wow, that actually is pretty darn impressive. 19 times marathon runner. Yeah, and I think you're going to be able to tell just by looking at him as we bring him in. Let's say hi to James Hawthorn. How you doing, my friend, and what are you sipping on? Something healthy, I take it.
Hello. Hey, just to be in the spirit with you guys, I am a diehard bleed Dodger blue kind of guy, and I'm drinking some white wine. I take advantage. Now, I'm going to teach you guys how to take advantage of metabolic hacks to get fit and healthy. But in the interim, may I suggest a price wallet hack? Get the 6 bottles at Vons or Ralph's and save the 30%.
I love how this guy thinks.
Troy.
There you go. I love how you think. Salud, my friend. So when it comes to white wine, sweeter, drier?
Definitely
what do you like?
Not sweet. I'm a Sauvignon Blanc guy. I love when they say essence of grapefruit, passion fruit, whatever. I also like mineral and grassy. That's fine. That's when it comes to Chardonnay, I'm very specific. I would like something that speaks of stone fruits like peach and nectarine. And I swear I'm not this pretentious, but if I'm going to pay in LA $14, $15 for a glass of wine, I want it to be good.
Well, there you go. Exactly. So there is a winery 2 states north of you. Probably not someplace you could just drive to in an afternoon. But up in Washington State, there's a winery called Chateau Saint Michel. And they have some excellent white wines. But I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't get them there.
I have had some of theirs, and I have to tell your listeners something, if they are wine connoisseurs, that they won't know about me, because this show is going to be about fitness hacks and tips and health. You can fly dirt cheap out of Burbank Airport to 3, 4, 5 different places in Oregon and Washington on Avelo Airlines out of Burbank. I'm not sponsored by them. It's not sponsored. I booked a weird commercial. I also do some acting. Booked a commercial, had to go to Eugene. It was like $160 round trip out of Burbank. So for those of you who don't know, new airline, check out Avelo if you want to go to the wine countries in Washington and Oregon. They fly there for so cheap, and I love them. So
is that Avelo, Avelo?
Huh?
Is that Avelo, Avelo?
Avelo, yes.
Okay.
They actually started during the pandemic. So I'm an aviation geek is the thing I was getting to.
Sure.
When I was a little boy, my dad took me to the threshold of the runway at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C., and I heard the rumble of the jets flying over. And, you know, I was born in 85, so I was 4 years old. 1989, the jets were old, loud, smelly, and noisy. I felt it, I heard it, I smelled it, and I said, I want to be a pilot one day, and I still do, just not for a living, but I hope to one day get my private pilot's license and do that.
Oh, wow, that is impressive. That is really,
that's
really
a full
cool.
circle moment. Sorry for that. Incredible.
No, that's I love that kind of stuff. I mean, and let's face it, that's part of having a guest. I want everyone to love you as much as we love you. Welcome back, Deleted Scenes. And Sin of Sin's Corner, big YouTube channel. She does a lot of movie reviews, so it's always an honor when she stops in.
You have a Gorilla Random Thoughts
I
raid.
have a Gorilla Random Thoughts too, and a CK.
No, a raid.
Oh, everybody that let out from Gorilla, thank you so much for sending everyone over here to say hi to me. But Sin is saying interesting subject matter tonight. Fitness, not the wine. Okay, well, that's fine. So whatever your poison is just fine. Yeah. So I don't want anybody to think that's, I made the joke, kind of a joke earlier on, that I felt that this might be a little bit off, or they might think that it's a little bit off brand. But let me tell you, I think everybody that follows me knows I draw a lot of inspiration from Dean Martin, right? So I was watching a video about him or something, and you know how these videos are. They take some stock footage and just throw some things together. But let me share with you. Where is it? This one is this one here. There we go. I don't want to share my audio or you'll get kind of blown out there. So I saw this, right? Dean Martin, and he's reading the drinking man's diet, right? So I had to go ahead and pick up a copy myself. Start reading through it. This is from 1967. Some of the science here is pretty outdated, so about half of this book I'm probably not even going to pay attention to.
Bad for you, right?
Pardon me?
That was about 8 years after they finally figured out that smoking was bad for you, right?
Well, it doesn't talk about smoking so much, but it goes into a lot about cholesterol. It's big on just focusing on cholesterol, focusing on salt. And look, I think every aspect of your diet is important, but I think those things were very, very important at the time. But what it comes down to, if I was to sum this up, basically one of your first low-carb diets. And I'm like, well, this isn't too different from the diets that they're kind of pushing today. So, of course, we'll get into that a little bit more. But before we get started, and you kind of help me out and tell me whether maybe this drinking man's diet is really, good for me or not, want to share. So, you're looking at me right now. You see what I look like? Let's go back to 2010. Oh, it didn't come up, did it? I gotta change the screen. Hold on a second. I thought if I just brought it up, you'd see it, but technical difficulties. Just bear with me. Share the screen. I gotta bring
Troy, as you do that, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
If you're looking for nutrition tips from
Yeah.
me, that would be like me looking for music tips from Roseanne Barr when she sang the national anthem.
Dude, that's okay.
On the journey, that you're on the path, wherever you might be. But I
Look.
got sources, just a little bit. For music, I go to Dean Martin.
No, what I'm asking for is I'm asking for a guide. I am Ray Charles, and I'm asking Mr. Magoo, okay? So you're still better off than I am, okay? But, so I'm going to shock everybody. This is something I have not shared with my audience just yet. Going back to, well, you're going to see on my shirt what year it was. That's me back in 2010. I am with Charlotte Stewart. So I will be, the reason I came upon this picture of myself very recently is because I'm putting together a slideshow to share with everybody on Tuesdays over on Deleted Scenes channel when we do Sparkwood and 21. This was Bobby Briggs's mom in Twin Peaks. You might also know her if you're a fan of Little House on the Prairie. She was the school teacher. So this was the year I decided that I had gotten it had all gotten way away from me, and Netter and I have shared about walking down to the bottom of those beautiful falls there at the Snoqualmie Falls, and this was the day after I did that, and I was sore and just getting halfway down that hill. I was out of breath and sweating.
He was stopping every 10 feet.
Every 10 feet.
Going
And
downhill.
so I was talking with Charlotte about this, and I said, I'm just really feeling not so great about myself. I gotta do something about it. And she says, I have every faith in you that you're gonna lose this weight and you're gonna get healthy. And she said, I want to see you back here. The falls were going to be closed for the next 2 years. They were doing some construction. We wouldn't be able to walk down. She's come back in 2013, and tell me how we're doing. Well, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to make it back until, well, we actually haven't been back. So, but right around, let's see, 2015. Well, 2016, actually. Oh, I guess I got to change the slide again.
Yeah.
Present. Stop screen. Present.
You've come a long way, my man. The difference between that and now, it's shocking. So, whatever you do, congratulations for your follow-through to do.
I was doing better. This was 2016.
Wow.
And feeling pretty proud of myself. Although you couldn't see it in the previous picture, those are actually the same pants I was wearing in that previous picture. So.
I mean, I'll tell your audience while you pull up the new slide, it's not so much what you do, it's that whatever you do it consistently. A little bit every day. A little bit's more than, is better than nothing. Build the habit. And even if you say, oh, well, it's not what the program said I should do, so I'm failing. Stop measuring yourself against a paradigm of what you should do, and start measuring yourself against, well, what did I used to do and what am I doing today that's better than what I did yesterday? And if you do that, you're off to a great start.
Yeah, and but you can see I've put some weight back on, obviously. That was 2016. And I was doing real good until 2019, 2020. As you can, I don't even need to tell you. And things completely changed, and it threw me completely off. And I'm thinking, you know what? Oh, yeah, Evelyn. Evelyn's here going, awesome, Troy. She has seen me do this. She has seen that weight come off. Because she's here in the Chicagoland area with Netter and I. And she has done the same. She lost a lot of weight herself. She knows she was a big encouraging factor to me. She started a group on Facebook, encouraging everybody to get fit. They called it the Battle of the Bulge, BULGE. But what were you going to say?
Community is very important. I mean, just joining with other people that are trying to do the same thing, even if they're at an ability level that's below you or above you. The nice thing about community is that when you're all there for the same reason, that community tends to be very welcoming, even if you're not on the same ability level. And that is enough to overcome the biggest hurdle, which is getting your butt out the door. Once you get out the door and you're doing it, people tend to do more. Like if it's just getting your butt out the door to go to the gym. Once you get to the gym, you're going to do more than you thought you would, because you're like, oh, I feel like crap. I really don't want to do it today. I'll set an alarm early tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Well, F that. If you get out the door now and you get there, see other people working out, the music's going.
Right.
Take care of business because you're there. You drove there. You're going to get it done. So this is one that before we get to different things that we wanted to go over tonight.
That was probably the biggest thing for myself, was because we had a gym at the office and I could just go. I joined a class there. We were taking classes. That, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking about myself. Yeah, it's my stream, but damn it, I did want to ask you a question. So I read that intro, IRONMAN. Oh my gosh, marathons. But what I wanted to know is you're a personal trainer, right? And you give advice on. You talk about diet a little bit, don't you?
Well, a lot. I'm a certified fitness nutrition specialist by the medicine.
Okay.
Well,
one thing I'd been wanting to ask you. Been wanting to ask you this all week.
Sure.
Are you a yoga instructor?
No. However, I'm going to tell you this. I have clients that come to me, and I always do my first initial assessment with people. It's on the house. It's free. If I'm going to get in there and change your life, and I'm going to ask you to be honest with me, I need you to be like available and ready. So the least I can do is give you an hour of my time and see if we like each other, right?
Sure.
And if we vibe. And so I assess them. I tell them what I think they need. They tell me what they want. I give them a path to get there. But at the end of the day, they might say to me, I don't have the time for that. Say, I got 1 hour a week. What should I do? I said, frankly, not me, yoga or Pilates. Because most people that come from a movement deficit, meaning that they're sitting on their butt all day long, they need to learn how to open up their joints, move a little better. And Pilates and yoga do that better than personal training, at least in the conventional sense of personal training. Because
sure.
Jack of all trades. But
yeah.
I say, look, if this client needs mobility training, I'm to refer them to my favorite yoga or Pilates specialist, because when you really get down to it, why I do what I do instead of serving tables and being an actor is I really want to help people. And if someone says, I only got an hour a week, I say, you should do yoga. So that's my take on yoga. Incredibly important.
The reason I asked is because I was watching this movie from 2012, Adam the Amazing Zombie Killer, and I saw a yoga instructor that looked so much like you. And let me tell you something, guys. You can find this movie on Plex. It is hysterical. But let me tell you, it's definitely a budget type of film. I would say to appear in a movie like this, you would have to have giant gnocchis.
I was sick of my corporate job at the time, and I knew that I wanted to tell stories, right?
Yeah.
I'll do anything, whatever you want. Put me in front of a camera. Let's give it a go. And I did it. And the writer and co-producer of the film worked the cafeteria at my Fortune 250 company when I used to be a sales guy at a college. Thinking, oh, I'm going to be a corporate man and do all this. Until one day, I was just I'm like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I hear you.
And I came home, I flipped on the TV, and on came the movie The Bucket List. And now this is going to parlay beautifully into our conversation on health and wellness and getting older. I'm watching these two guys, Morgan Freeman, Jack Nicholson, right? These are two actors, brilliant. They're dying together in a hospital bed of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's got money, the other's got ideas. The one who's got money is cynicism and vitriol.
Right.
The other, hope and ideas. And the two end up, after hating each other, becoming friends. And I watched this movie, and I'm like, well, what's my bucket list? And I don't mean in terms of like jumping out of an airplane, stuff like that, because at the time I was only 23, 24, and be like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Right.
What do I want to do with my life? So the movie inspired me to ask that question, and it caused a paradigm shift in my thinking from what should I do in terms of what did I go to school for, what's expected of me, what could I do well, as opposed to, what should I do and do well, as opposed to, well, what do I want to do and what could I do? And art inspired me to do that question. So, of course, on my list was acting. And I was lucky to grow up with active parents. I was an only child. I wanted to be cool and, go to the gym with my dad. And my dad, because he was a good dad, got the owner of the gym to let an 8-year-old work out alongside him. So I grew up always being involved in fitness. And I have to thank my parents 100% for that.
Mm.
But the takeaway now is, fast forward 15 years, I'm miserable in my life. Miserable.
Yeah.
Feeling 50 years old, like on the inside, even though I'm only 23.
Right.
Like, I was a kid my whole life. Now I'm an adult. I got a job, salary, benefits. And I feel like I'm dying.
Yep.
And then bucket list, they actually are dying. And it made me ask the question, what do I want to do? So for anybody who is thinking about fitness and maybe not doing it, imagine that you're dying. What would you want for the rest of your life if someone said, you get a clean badge of health if you do this? And
right.
This is putting your health first.
Yeah.
And then you get to live the rest of your life. That's the question I want to pose to your listeners. And that's also my backstory as to how I got here and ended up here doing this. When I was a corporate guy covered in fake blood on Adam the Amazing Zombie Killers while working.
Killed by a weed whacker to the chest.
I told Troy.
I'm sorry, I forgot to put the mic back.
I told Troy when he was playing his new show, I was like, James is so cute. Can we adopt him?
Yeah, you're in the right age group. We would adopt you. If
I'm older than you think I am.
You're young enough to be our kid, though. Probably.
And actually, for those that don't maybe have a lot of mobility, one of my favorite exercises is just dancing. Getting some music on and moving.
Just move. Any movement you could do.
And you don't really feel it's exercise because you're having fun. You're dancing.
Look,
that's not exercise. That's fun.
True.
I can't thank you enough for bringing that point up, because the most important thing that you can do for a human being, if you're in the health and fitness field, is teach them how to move in the way that the body is designed to move. Now, that takes an understanding of kinesiology and muscle mechanics and all of these things, right? But if you can teach somebody how to move better, no matter where they're at in their health and fitness journey, as I said, I've trained clients 15 to 84. When you teach somebody how to move, whatever ceiling they had on them, you have just busted through it and opened up the possibilities for them to thrive and do well in any physical environment. And my favorite clients, by the way, are those that are I have 3 clients over the age of 8. My favorite thing about them is they actually do the homework. You want to know why? I'm going to, as Dr. Marissa would say, put the moose on the table.
Sure.
They're dying.
Yeah.
And so they're paying me, and they've been around long enough to know the value of a dollar, and they say, well, I'm paying him. I'm going to do what he tells me to do.
Right.
And do the homework. Now, in contrast, my 30-somethings that are able, they might be weak or they might not have good mechanics in their movement, but they can fudge their way through stuff. They have 2 kids that are screaming and crying under the age of 3. They have a job that's busting their nuts for, to do this and that and the other.
Speaking of busting your nuts, make sure you check out that Adam the Amazing Zombie Killer. Free on Plex. Check it out.
But
I told you I'd get you at least once this stream.
And my 80-year-olds are so humble because they're like, I'm just happy to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And 80-year-olds are like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you, James, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't do anything, even though I ignore all of your advice and don't do your homework. But I had one of them come to me and say, I got blood work back from the doctor and it's bad. And I said, well, Derek, what
do you need to do? Yeah.
Last 6 years. But the 80-year-olds do everything I tell them to do. And they show up and they do the work between the sessions.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to my first point. No matter where you're at on your fitness journey, do something. Stop looking at yourself as somebody that I am someone who suffers from back pain, knee pain, neck pain. Wake up and say, I am an active person no matter what. And if that means a 20-minute walk, fine. If that means I go to a senior citizens yoga class, even though I'm 10 years younger than the average person there, who cares? But the idea is do something every day, because then you're telling yourself what you value and who you are, and you're no longer, somebody that is a chronic pain sufferer. You're somebody that says, yeah, I've got those things, but I am an active and healthy person. And when you go through life in that way, you can deal with the aches and pain in a much better way. So
I'm glad that PJ is still here with us. He took my advice and took a nap before the stream, but he's agreeing. He is a great example of, well, I'm the example though, but he is the object of the example of what you were just saying. The good book says in Proverbs, many advisors make victory assured. Okay? And I had a minister who once said to me, you want to be successful, you got to pray, okay? But in that prayer, be active in that prayer. Say, I'm laying this request before you, and you're going to give me the guidance and the advice that I need. And when you get that guidance and advice, whether it's spiritual, your minister or whatever, PJ is my advisor, regarding the growth of my channel and so forth. Let's say I take on you as my, my advisor for health, right? I lay it before God and I say, just as though you were speaking to me, I will take what they say and do as they say, as if it was holy writ. And I expect you to bless it, because that's what you promise. My point being, what's the point of advice if you don't take it? Right? And if you're asking for advice, you're asking for someone who is wiser than you are in that regard.
Sometimes the people, they pick and choose the advice they want to accept, right?
Let's also look to Proverbs for that.
Yeah.
People will in their sin look for what their itching ears want to hear, right? And they'll believe what they want to believe. You tell somebody, well, you could lose weight on the eat all the chocolate you want diet. Oh yeah, I'm all for that, but is that good advice? Or is it just what you want to hear?
Troy, can I take from my acting career to provide some advice in this realm, in the personal training career?
Acting like Adam the Amazing Zombie Killer. I'm sorry. I'll let him. Actually, go check out James Hawthorn's IMDb. He's got a whole list of films that I haven't had a chance to go through yet. That's just the first one. I'm sure he's been in many others.
That much, guys. I appreciate the shout out, but as far as an actor goes, I'm a much more successful personal trainer. I'm just going to tell you that. But
And tune into Dr. Marissa Pay, every Thursday to hear James Hawthorn talking about relationship advice.
Mm-hmm. Well, not so much relationship advice, more questions that we throw out there and talk.
Discussion.
We're all in it together. We don't have the answer.
I dig it, yeah.
Right.
Say to you that I know what has worked for my clients. I know what scientific studies I've read, but you've got to find a practitioner, someone that you want to work with, that you vibe with. And if you want to do it in a more remote way, check your sources. If you find something, if you do a Google search and you find something that resonates with you, great. But go read 5 more articles, at least, and find at least 1 or 2 more.
There you go. Don't fall for confirmation bias.
Yeah.
You know, be open to the truth, reality, not your truth, not the truth. Because if you want success, that is. If you just want to feel good, if you want to pretend, that's fine. Believe what you want. But if you really want to succeed, be open to the truth.
Be open to the truth and be open to hard work to find your truth. Because, yes, there are certain objective truths, but a lot of times you have to find what works for you best. And to go back to the acting analogy that I was talking about, there are a lot of acting teachers that come from the same school of thought, but it has been disseminated through them and delivered through them in a unique and specific way.
Right.
And you might teach the same stuff to the same person many times, but through the words of another person, the penny might drop. And
you're talking about 2 different things. You're talking about the way people communicate,
yes.
and you're talking about personal wisdom, experience.
Or not necessarily the truth, but a way about doing things that has been successful and proven successful. It might not hit you from one teacher, but if you go to another practitioner who has the same ideology, it might hit you. And it might not hit you at all, and you go to a different way of thinking about your fitness or your acting or your faith, since you're quoting scripture. And,
Sure.
It takes gathering a lot of perspectives to truly know when one perspective resonates with you. And then once you have that perspective and you hear their words, that is not the gospel. That is a point of reference to go do more research. So,
be
curious. Always be curious.
Yes.
So if I give fitness advice to you today, I promise you that I'll tell you what I think versus what I know from fact. But I encourage you to not take anything I say for fact and go be curious. Do the research.
I am surprised. I've never asked you this before. It's never come up because it's never been part of our conversations. But and I'm not asking you now. This is a I'm just saying I've never asked you about your faith, and you don't need to talk about it right now. But what you are saying is again very scriptural, because in Scripture it says the Bereans were more noble than those in Thessalonica, because they received what the teachers said with great eagerness, and then they examined the Scriptures to see if what they said was true. This idea that even in faith, you don't just believe what someone tells you. You go back to whatever your source is and double check it, right?
Yes.
Does it really work? And that's what you're talking about right now. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. And
God bless you, Netter. She just sneezed. So everybody say God bless you to Netter.
Well, I did earlier with me diving into some fitness stuff. I prepared some stuff, some common sense tips that I would love people to go and try. Try them
Yes.
out. Google what I'm telling you. Check your source when you Google it. Don't just take the top sources. Oh, I Googled it. Top article said this, so you're wrong or you're right. Don't confirm or deny what I'm telling you based on what you Google. Look at where it came from. Now, I was a psychology major, and one thing I learned was experimental design. You have to, understand where your information comes from, and very little information comes from like empirically improved studies. So to not put your audience to sleep, that's drinking tonight. I'm just going to sources and understand that an empirically empirically reviewed journal is really good place to start, right? But if you're lazy, Google it, but Google a lot. Don't just take the top. I would give a few myth busting because we're here, and one thing you wanted me to talk about was drinking, and I'm drinking here with you guys. So call me a hypocrite, or you could call me a partaker in we're a little bit of this, we're a little bit of that. We're come a chameleon.
You come and go. Hey, you know what? I don't care. I don't care if they hit me with a copyright strike.
Like a child of the 80s.
But just in case they do hit me with that copyright strike, you might want to buy me a drink because that's what happens. They take the money if I sing a song on the stream.
Next time I see you, we'll do it. And speaking of buying a drink, let's talk to your fans about how to have a drink.
I was going to ask you. So you're drinking a white wine.
Yes.
Do you know how many calories are in that white wine?
I know how much there are in there compared to other things such as an IPA, a light beer, a mixed cocktail. So I would love to give some drinking advice to your drinking audience.
Bingo! Yes! On brand, thank you. And Boomer's laughing here.
And 43 minutes into this 2-hour show is grateful that we finally got to that.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here it is. Here are the nuts and bolts. The nuts and bolts. I'm going to make a big grand gesture so anybody who goes on YouTube, when James is doing this, he's getting ready to talk about the nuts and bolts of how to drink on a diet.
He understands the concept of the YouTube stream. I love that about this guy.
If you're a cocktail person, it's simple. Your mixer is this and only this: club soda and citrus juice. So you squeeze in lime or lemon. Club soda is your mixer. You don't have any syrupy flavor. So a margarita that has sweet and sour, no. You want the tequila. You want the lime juice. You are okay with a little simple agave or something like that, but then lemon lime, and the lime juice should be like fresh lime, right?
Let me stop you right there and reiterate and bolster that. If you want a good drink, that's what you got to do. These pre-existing mixers,
terrible.
I told my audience this. Netter and I wanted to have a strawberry daiquiri one time, and I bought one of those strawberry daiquiri. You just add the booze to it. This thing was horrible. It tasted like chemicals. I dumped the whole damn thing out. I said, Netter, if you want a daiquiri from now on, I'll make you one with strawberries, and good booze. See, so I was on the right track with my drinking. Am I right?
And that was the best daiquiri I ever had.
Thank you, Netter.
I'm gonna put a pin in your, party balloon and say daiquiris are not on the approved menu.
Oh, well, in fairness, I maybe have one daiquiri a year. I'm not a big daiquiri.
Cop out, though. I'm gonna give you a cop out. You have two choices. So, and this is going to parlay into the next thing about this fad about gotta avoid carbs. So everyone says, oh, carbs are sugar, carbs are sugar. Well, alcohol is sugar and is treated like a carb in your bloodstream and diet. However, there's ways to navigate this under the macro scope of the way that you eat and the way that you live. So let's just say that you're someone that likes to drink, to have a few cocktails. Well, then it's simple. Don't eat any white flour. Don't eat pasta. Don't eat rice. Don't eat, except for this. Now, for anybody who's listening and with us and not too drunk yet, I want them to open up their device or get out a pen and write down this tip. And Troy, I'm going to give this to you to send out to your audience. It is the key to eating carbs that will fuel athletic performance and not put fat on your belly. I call it the 5-to-2 rule. And
Okay.
that you actually look at a product on the grocery shelf, you pull it, you ignore all the crap that's written on the front, you go to the nutrition label.
Right.
For every 5 grams of carbs that it has, if you add up the protein and the fiber, it has to make a 5-to-2 ratio. So let me give you an example for those of you that aren't math whizzes, and neither was I, word guy. Let's say that you get Dave's Wonderful Bread, which we all know is a healthy, right, bread brand. It depends what bread you get. Let's say it's got 20 grams per serving, right, of carbohydrates. Well, you would want a 5-to-2 ratio. So 8 grams of fiber and protein. I don't care if it's 8 grams of fiber and no grams of protein, or 8 grams of protein and no fiber. And here's the reason why. With enough fiber and protein, that carbohydrate is not digested and absorbed like a sugar. So that whole carbs is sugar thing is crap. Debunked. Wrong. Thickness. Terrible. I'm not a advocate, but I am an actor, and it's
that's great, man.
So I'm gonna do that. So the bottom line is 5-to-2. So for every 5 grams of carbs, let it have a combined 2 grams of fiber and protein. If it meets that ratio, you should eat that carb. You should eat, and specifically the best time to eat it is right before you go and exercise. I have so many clients that come to me and they want to get fit, and they're like, I just ate veggies, or like I just ate a protein shake, and they're dying half an hour through their session. Veggies, fiber, good for your body, not good for working out. Takes a long time to digest that.
True.
Very long time to digest that. There's no fuel or energy there. And you need carbs to be a fully functioning human being. So the best time to eat them is right before whenever you're going to work out. So if you know that you're going to go to the gym and work out, that's when to do it. So, I want to help you guys myth bust, and I want to help you guys live a fun lifestyle where you don't have to be so restrictive, because I know my audience, we're a drinking crowd.
Amen. Salud. And this is coming from somebody who has run marathons. And so you've done the whole carb loading thing before a big run or whatever. You burn off those calories, never makes it into your fat cells, because that's
specific, Troy. I have maintained the same body weight. All right, I went to a wedding. I had 2 of the first friends I made out here in Los Angeles 13 years ago. Really fun gay couple from Delaware. They got married in a wedding or in a castle in Ireland. And the gifts for the groomsmen were tuxes. I'm like, no. I think I can still fit in my high school prom tux. 20 years later, I fit in my high school prom tux. And I promise you, I have never done, nor will do, anything extreme when it comes to diet, because I love good drinks with friends, and I love really good food, and will eat decadent and rich food. But the key are the things that I want to tell your audience in the second half of this show.
Well, so you make a great point there. What I was going to say is, well, first, I got a question from the Martini Gallery. See, I don't do Cashew Gallery. I do Martini Gallery.
Excellent.
PJ says, he's asking a question. How effective, I've never heard this before, how effective is freezing and then microwaving carbs for the carbs to not be absorbed? Is there anything in that?
That sounds like tomfoolery to me.
That's what I thought too, because carbs are carbs, and the number of calories is the number of calories, right?
If he has a peer-reviewed empirical study, so that's what I wanted to say to your audience. When you're looking at stuff on Google, peer-reviewed empirical study, those are the key things. If that's not in when you go and link to the page, if that's not on there, peer-reviewed, study, it's not.
When he says believe the science, he means real science. He means peer-reviewed science. He means look for the study. Don't just believe somebody in a white coat that tells you something, right?
And that's why I go to the backside of the label when I
exactly. Sin says, I stopped eating simple carbs years ago and feel so much better. The older I got, the less good I felt after eating them. No sugar, potatoes, pasta, rice, bread, etc. Feel much better. So I want to bring this up because, well, you guys saw the weight that I lost. Part of that for me, and I'm just going to share my experience, was I cut out not all carbs, but I cut out the sugars, I cut out the candies, I cut out the pastries. And let me tell you something, after years of that, and I do mean years, something in your body changes. If I were to go, and Netter can attest to this, hey, do you want to go for ice cream, or do you want, whatever? And I'll go, oh yeah, that sounds great. And I'll get a little bit into it, and I'll get a little, and I'm like, oh, I can't finish this ice cream, or I can't finish this pastry, or whatever it is. And or if I do, oh my gosh, I'm suffering later because my stomach is going, what the heck are you doing to me? Something about your body changes. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of like what Dr. Marissa talks about habits. You do something for a certain number of days and it becomes a habit and you're in it. Your body changes to the diet. And if you identify something in your diet that maybe isn't healthy, maybe isn't the best thing, and you cut way back on it or cut it out entirely, you think that, a year from now I'm gonna lose it and I'm gonna gain all the weight back because I'll go back to it. You will try and your body will go, nope, we're done with that. We're done with that. That was my experience.
That personal anecdote is so valuable, and I want to build on that because this goes to something I want to talk about later in the show. I put it at the bottom of the show if we even got here, but I want to bring it up now because you just gave your personal story, and it's about habit building. And if you just knock out one bad thing at a time, we as humans sometimes think that because we're not looking or feeling the way we want to be, we have to add more stuff on. But no, we have to clear the crap off the plate. And if you just clear one thing at a time, it takes 3.5 weeks to build a habit.
Yep.
One thing at a time. And I tell people that the top 2 priorities are this. 1, get rid of added sugar. Nothing that has sugar added can be in your diet.
Yep.
You can still eat fruit. It's fine. Did you know that even Greek yogurt has, sugar in it, right? Like, that's not added. Sugar is going to get in your diet anyway. Beets have a lot of sugar. So do carrots. But they're great for your body. You're going to get your sugars.
Yep.
So don't think that, oh my God, I'm a sugar addict. I'm never going to make it eating these earth foods. It's not true because a lot of the earth foods have sugar. So my advice with habit building is pick one at a time. Second, no white flour. So as I talked about the 5-to-2 ratio, for every 5 grams of carbohydrates, Dave's one for bread. It's got 20 grams of carbs. It should have 8 grams, at least 8 grams of fiber and protein combined. What that does is it slows down the absorption of the sugar, which is what all the fad diet
causes an insulin spike and so forth. Yeah.
Slows down the whole process of absorption. So your bloodstream digests slower because of the fiber and the protein. The carb is now a health food, and it also fuels your performance for whatever athletically you might want to do, whether it's going to the gym, getting on your bike, taking your dog for a walk up a mountain, whatever, or just down the street, wherever you are. So know that. That is the first myth that I want to bust. Carbs are not the enemy, but added sugar and white flour are.
I talked to a dietitian as I was going through my process. One of the things they pointed out is food is fuel. Right? Carbohydrates specifically are fuel. Well, yeah. Fats to a certain extent too, but that's fuel, right? And if your car, you fill up the gas tank and you get to full, and then you keep putting gas into it, what happens? It spills all over the place. You're wasting your money. You got a fire hazard. And that's really what you're doing if you're taking in more calories than you're burning up in the course of whatever amount of time.
That's the epitome of but we all know that. Everybody says you got to watch that equation because that is everything. And I'm going to give you the second hack right now. And it is about metabolic regulation. So I'm steering away from extreme things like going into ketosis, avoiding all carbs, which is what ketosis is. I'm avoiding intermittent fasting, just saying totally starve yourself. But by the way, I kind of accidentally do that because I'm not really hungry. If I get up at 7, I'm not hungry till 10. And if I eat at 7 p.m., I'm good. So if 10 to 8, right, there's a 10-hour window. So for 14 hours, I'm not eating. So I'm accidentally doing it, but it works. But what the studies show, by the way, before I get back to this other point, is we don't know if intermittent fasting works because it actually helps your metabolism or if it's simple calorie restriction. Because intermittent done at its best is an 8-hour eating window, meaning you eat from 10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., that's it. Now, if you only sleep 8 hours a day and you let yourself eat whenever you want, you have a 16-hour eating window. It's a lot harder to eat as many calories.
True.
16 hours as it is during 8 hours. So what the studies show, and this is what I want to advise all of your followers that aren't too wine drunk, martini drunk, whatever,
Hoorah.
Is when you go, I'm going to take a sip too because I am drinking with you as I tell you this information.
There you go. He's in the spirit.
I want that I'm one.
Spirit, get it? Spirit, he's in the spirit.
And the fact that I'm drinking means that the passion is harder and more.
Hoorah!
But what I'm trying to tell you is that when you look at your sources, that's what I'm talking about. Make sure that you really check what it is. Because, yes, intermittent fasting helps people lose weight. But did you know that it helps men lose weight more than women?
Yes.
Women, over the course of evolution or whatever, when they have a baby to keep, they have to hold on to more fat.
Right.
Because if times are tough and there's no food with the nomadic group or the village that's there, the baby dies. And maybe so does the mom, right?
Yep.
So our bodies are programmed for that. So if you're a woman versus a man considering intermittent fasting, if you're a woman, know that it might not be the best idea because your body, evolutionarily speaking, is going to hold on to that fat no matter what.
Yep. Real quick, let me say goodnight to Matt Inouye. Thanks for hanging out with us as long as you could, buddy. Hope you catch the rest of it on the rerun. Absolutely true. I know that there's a lot of people triggered by this, but biology is biology, and men and women are different. It's millions of years of evolution, and this is something that Netter and I have dealt with and struggled with as we've both been on this journey. She's like, man, you lose weight so much faster. I said, I got two things in my favor. First, I'm twice her mass. So it takes more calories to move my weight than it does her. My metabolism is burning more calories per day than hers. Just doing.
I don't want you to dispel any false facts to your audience, so I'm going to dispel things. With weight, yes, you burn more calories when you do an activity, but your metabolism, your metabolic rate, is independent of
True. I did misspeak. You're absolutely right.
So I do want to share that for a moment and talk about metabolic hacks that are going to be helpful.
Before you do, let me finish my point. The second point I was making with her is, men got testosterone. You can call it toxic if you want to, but it does do something to your metabolism that it makes it a little bit easier to build muscle, to burn fat, sometimes than women. Just exactly what you were talking about. That's all I wanted to say about that. Go ahead.
Hey, Troy, to your point for your male audience, I'm going to tell you that your testosterone is highest in your bloodstream by and large, and it's different for every man, but across mass studies, they show that between 3 and 6 p.m., you have the highest natural testosterone going through your bloodstream. So what that means, speaking of biohacks, because if we're a drinking crowd, we might be a little bit of a lazy crowd. How do I get what I want without having to sacrifice?
Right.
So I'm going to say this. Your lifting, your strength work should be done between 3 and 6 p.m. because show that your natural testosterone and natural HGH, human growth hormone, are highest in your bloodstream during those hours.
Wow, so, I did not know that.
Speaking of metabolic hacks and metabolism, I'm going to say that in the morning, there's been this whole thing around fasted cardio. If I do cardio before I take in any carbs, am I burning fat? Because, most people have heard of the fat burning zone, the cardio zone, the aerobic zone. A lot of that is kind of BS. But what I can tell you is if there's no fuel in the tank in the morning, your body has to figure out how to burn something else. And as an Ironman triathlete, I can tell you, after a 2.5 mile swim, 112 mile ride on a bicycle, then having to run 26 miles, your body is burning whatever it can grab, borrow, and steal. So what I'll tell you is that in the morning, you still have some glycogen and glycose in your bloodstream. But if you cut off carb intake at lunch and you're only eating protein and veggies after lunch, then in the morning, I can guarantee you, you are in a carbohydrate deficit. And that is when you should do something called HIIT training, high intensity interval training, which is a buzzword that people talked about. But even if you, before getting into what HIIT is, I'll just say, do something active in the morning before you take in any calories, especially if you stop eating carbs after lunch, or at least stop eating carbs at 5 p.m. Because you'll wake up, you don't have the carbs in your system to burn, your body has to figure out another way. Your workout, by the way, will suck. It's going to be terrible. You're going to feel awful. You're not going to perform your best, but you will burn fat. And isn't that what everybody seems to want?
Well, the difference being, and maybe you want to talk about this too, the difference between muscle building and fat burning exercises, the so-called, aerobic versus anaerobic exercises, which may be different for different people. Depends on what your goal is. If you're looking to lose the fat, obviously you want to be more aerobic. If you want to get the gains, you want to build those guns, you might want to be doing more anaerobic. And then again, like you said, that might depend what time of day you want to be doing that.
I think the biggest question out there that most people want to know the answer to is, how do I get rid of my belly?
So getting rid of your belly sounds like what I was talking about in, losing the weight, aerobic, burn the fat. Am I right?
I'm going to disagree with you there, Troy.
That's okay. No, this is good. This is a good thing. If I say something and it's wrong, you're here to correct me.
I have to. When it comes to building core and burning belly fat, it really comes down to diet being 70% of the equation. And me and Troy had a little technical snafu, but for those who follow his channel, I'm going to provide it in a way that he can share it. This is an article that I wrote for my high school alumni network. It's the 5 things that you have to follow. And if you do those, you will never gain another pound. And you will lose body fat, I promise. And I tell you how to be a A- student, because we all need to have an indulgence now and again. Cheers.
Amen.
Tell me.
I'll send you the file later. In fact, this article that he wrote, you just DM me or reach out to me on Discord or the MeWe group or here on this. Just drop a comment here and let me know. I'll email you this article.
I promise you guys, if you do this for 6 months, you will stop researching, YouTubing, Googling, buying meal plans. You'll be like, but you actually have to do it. You can't
do it. Yeah.
This is the big disconnect between a lot of my clients, and I told you earlier, I love my 8-year-olds.
I know what I have to do, but I'm not doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. My 30-year-olds read and go, oh, that's great. That's so good. And then I'm like, why have you not done it? So do it. And it's not hard. It's actually really easy stuff. And if you're an all-in person, so I want to talk about habit building. If you're an all-in person, do all the healthy stuff all at once. If you're somebody that needs one thing at a time, pick one thing to change in your health and wellness. Maybe it's adding more vegetables to your diet. Maybe it's cutting out added sugar. Maybe it's out white flour. But I give a hierarchy of these 5 things, if you do them in order, are going to help you lose weight, keep it off, bust fat, and you don't have to pay for anything, you don't have to do anything. Just trust your human ability to build a habit. And it takes 3.5 weeks. So be patient with yourself, but just put this one thing, the one thing you're doing, front of mind, and go do it. Just the one thing. Not all of it. All 5 takes some time.
Yep. So like I said, just reach out to me on whatever method you want to reach out to me, or just share your email with me and say, send me this. I will send it to you. Absolutely. And of course, you can also certainly reach out to James at the email that Netter is going to drop for me again, please, Netter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because I put it into the
you dropped it in the chat earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, and I also put it in the private chat so I had easy access to it.
Yep, and of course it's also in the description below. So
I just dropped that. Make sure you copy it down.
Coach James Hawthorn with no E at gmail.com.
Now, Troy,
that's okay, right? You'd send him the file too, right?
I still want to adopt him.
I know, right? Well, he's got a good relationship with his parents, so I don't think he doesn't need another set of parents. But yeah, he's good people.
No, hey, I appreciate that, Troy. I really do. Hey, I don't know what kind of, this is my first time on your show. I don't know what kind of show you're running around here.
I don't either. I make it up week to week, let me tell you.
I got a question. Do you have call-in people? Do they have call-in abilities? Do they have type-in abilities? I would love to do a popcorn. Let them ask me anything. I love
Absolutely. It. You know what? You make a great point. So we got our martini gallery here. We've got how many people we got here right now? We've got at least 13 people watching right now. If you have questions, by all means, tag me so that I see your comment. Otherwise, Netter and Boomer will make sure that.
And we can also do a follow-up on Thursday Things where he comes back to answer those questions.
Absolutely. We can absolutely have you back. Netter's got a stream on Thursdays if you want to come back again on a Friday. What were you going to say, Boomer?
I was going to say someone in the chat mentioned that he's using an air fryer now, and I think I started messing around.
Okay,
Air fryer's
okay.
good, but
I'm
Troy is
glad you.
skeptical
Yes,
about
I'm
the air
glad you
fryer.
brought that up. So he's telling me about this air fryer, right?
Yeah, I
I've heard
tried it
about
out.
these air fryers, and the more he's telling me about it, the more I'm thinking, how is this different from a broiler? You're just broiling. You're not frying anything. You're just hitting it with hot air. It's broiling. Am I right? James, do you recommend an air fryer?
An air fryer, yes. I mean, there's all this buzz about it, but what's most important isn't necessarily so much the way you cook it. It's what you're putting in the pan, the cooker, the fryer. And so I want to talk about that. I'll give a quick little one-over on meats and veggies. Meat.
Okay.
Meat, is it good for you or bad for you? We talked about, Troy, you and I off air, we have mentioned it on air, about busting myths. But
Yes.
Is meat good for you or bad for you? Because everyone says carbs are the enemy. So what do you eat instead? Well, meat. But if you've watched the documentary, What Your Health, that documentary is based in pretty good science. It says that diabetes is not actually based in on sugar. It's not based on eating sugar. It's based on sugar in your bloodstream. But what you maybe haven't learned is that eating meat blocks the receptors that absorb the sugar in your bloodstream. So we doctors and the whole medical industry kind of misdiagnosed the precursors for diabetes as being eating sugar and sweets is what causes it. But actually, when you eat too much meat, the sugar in your bloodstream can no longer be absorbed. And therefore, that is what leads to diabetes.
To the diabetes, yeah.
Now,
So it's always a give and take, right?
feel free to absorb it. But if you eat too much meat, then if you eat something sweet, it sets your whole system off. That's why extreme diets like no carbs and all that are not so good for you, because when you're eating all that meat, your body is gonna let that sugar, when you have a cheat day,
Yeah.
God, it's so good to eat nothing but meat and veggies. You have a pastry, sugar's running through your bloodstream, and all of a sudden you get diabetes at 1/10 of the rate that somebody else does. And because they're eating carbs, they're eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but they're fine and you're not. So
Right.
that I totally want to bust.
So, I mean, I think the logical takeaway from that is moderation, right? I mean, you don't want to do anything in extreme. If your body, I shared about how I drastically cut down on sugar, and my body just doesn't respond well to it anymore. Your body does have a tendency to tell you when something's kind of out of whack and, something's not working right.
Sometimes our goals and our motivations can lead off course. Troy, I have to leave you for one quick minute. I'm dog sitting the neighbor's dog.
If you got a dog to take care of, you go for it.
I would love to come back to maybe a conversation about going too far with trying to do the right thing. I'll be right
Okay,
back.
when you come back, absolutely. While he's gone, let me go ahead and read this. I will have to reiterate it for him when he comes back. Question: some runners are big on running in the extreme heat. Does this apply to you? And if so, what precautions do you take? Man, let me tell you something about that. I'm going to guess on what he's going to say. We'll see if I'm right when he comes back. When it comes to heat, the big thing isn't about calories. It isn't about performance. It isn't about anything. It's about hydration. You must stay hydrated.
You also have to be careful not to get heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
A big part of that is the hydration.
I've had both. They're fun.
Not a lot of fun.
yikes.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
not fun.
Absolutely.
Drink water, right?
So help me out, Netter. Jesse Guajardo lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, back in high school, ROTC. He lost 15 pounds.
Let me
during
tell you
training.
something, ROTC. Anytime you are on a regimented diet of any kind, and then you're doing a whole lot of physical work, you're going to lose weight. It's just going to happen. You're going to get fit. You're going to lose the fat. And you're going to build the muscle.
That's why I was talking about dancing, because
Absolutely.
it's like, in fact, if any of y'all have seen the movie Hairspray, you got the larger girl that wants to be on this dance show, but all these skinny girls are dissing her because she's heavy.
Yeah.
Well, during the filming of the film, all the bigger girl, and I think there's a couple of the bigger people on there too that were also featured. But because of all the dancing, they were losing so much weight. They kept feeding him donuts and stuff, saying, "Keep eating. You got to keep that weight on. We can't have a skinny fat girl."
Yeah, we cast you as a fat girl. I could tell the same story about the girls on that The Facts of Life. You had Mindy Cohn, who was a bigger girl. She started to lose weight because she was so active with the work she was doing on the show, and she started to lose weight. And they're like, "We need you to maintain the weight that you have." Meanwhile, the girl that played Blair, who was supposed to be the pretty rich girl, was gaining weight because she was going to craft services all the time and putting on weight. And they're like, "You got to lose the weight. You can't. You gotta keep trim." And it can be a challenge in that.
That might have been a funny topic for an episode, though, where the one girl was losing and the one girl was gaining, and how the roles reversed.
I wouldn't be, I watch the show regularly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do an episode like that. Real quick, since we got our expert back, we do have a question from PJ of Orville Nation, saying some runners are big on running in extreme heat. Does that apply to you? And if so, what precautions do you take?
When it comes to running in extreme heat, I would only advise doing it if you are signed up for a race that takes place in extreme heat, because it's incredibly hard on the body. The best temperature for a marathon runner to set a personal record is like 53 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. And you think that's a little bit nippy, but they're out there and
not when you're active,
because their body heat goes up real fast when they're off 4 minutes and 45 seconds a mile for 26 in a row. So when it comes to running in extreme heat, that's something that people do to prove something to themselves, I believe. And if you need to do that not you personally, but for the people that sign up and do those things and accomplish, good on you. But as far as it being good for you, absolutely not. When you are living, and especially in this day and age of climate change and global warming, if you live in an area where it gets warmer later in the day, in the afternoon, I suggest strongly that you do your cardio if you're an outdoor cardio person, doing it in the morning before work or after work in the evening. Much better for you, for your skin. You'll achieve greater performance. The only time when I go against it is if your race or your event that you signed up for takes place in the heat. Then you must condition yourself to get used to that and learn how to hydrate during that. You don't want to not hydrate.
I said when you were gone, that's what I said. So I was right.
Yes.
And I would say too, I think this kind of applies in general to exercise. If there's a time of day, if there's whatever, a comfort level, whatever, where you will get the maximum out of your workout.
Yes.
Don't do things just to make yourself uncomfortable, because if you do, you're going to do less of it.
I agree wholeheartedly.
If you're gonna,
fat man. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. If you want to run, and you can run more because it's cooler and you're comfortable, that just seems like a no-brainer to me, right?
Look, I speak to the benefits of fasted cardio. Like, there's evidence out that shows it might work, and if you're somebody that's trying to lose fat, why not take advantage of these hacks where if you stop eating carbs before 5 p.m. and you do a high intensity interval training class meaning periods of hard work and rest that are no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds apart, meaning 30-second sprint, 2-minute rest, or 2 minutes kind of hard with a really short 30-second rest. If you live in that realm, you're doing HIIT training, by the way, as long as you're getting all the way up to 95% of max heart rate. You can do that in the morning. That's great. That's awesome. For me, if I do that, I'm going to throw up because when I wake up, my brain is ready, but my body isn't ready to be at its best until 11 or 12. The only thing that's allowed me to race well with marathons and triathlons is the preparation, the adrenaline, being like, this is the day. We are effing going, man. Yeah. And that is like, it's go time no matter what. And so it doesn't matter what you are. But for our audience who's maybe easing into trying to make subtle differences, subtle changes, work with your body. And I also want to talk about good days and bad days. If you're having a good day, let's say you got a trainer who's made a program for you, like I do, full program. It's all right there, white glove, there it is. And I say, today you're going to go for it. But you had a terrible day. Your screaming toddler kept you up all night. You were hammered at work. You have no energy. Well, that's a day where you look at my program and you go, and go back to my earlier advice and say something is better than nothing. Yeah. So today is a 30, 40-minute maintenance run. But after that, I'm going to stretch. And I'm really going to focus on breathing and breath and my yoga. And you know what? I'm going to push your program, James's program, back a couple days. And the next day I run, I'm going to tackle that workout, clear obstacles out of the way, make sure I'm ready to tackle that workout so that I can conquer that marathon. So the idea is meet yourself. If you want to go back to scripture, Jesus always meets you where you're at. I had a huge phase. I'm not a current practitioner, if you will. I had a bad experience at church. We can talk about at another.
That's okay. I don't really talk to the big cat at the top of the stairs anymore. Netter's the spiritual one in the family.
But I learned a lot from my time there, and I got some really great things from a brilliant head pastor. And he said, Jesus meets you where you're at. Well, if the best of the best is going to do that for you, well, one of the other commandments is be Jesus-like. Yeah. So be there for yourself. Meet yourself where you're at. On the good days, push harder. Recognize the opportunity that you've been given. I feel great today. I didn't think I would, but I started moving. Now I feel great. Push it. Go harder. Maybe swap the workouts out that your coach gave you.
Well, what you just said, we could
side of that as well.
What you just said, you could if you want to go back to scripture, in the letters it says, in view of grace, shall we continue sinning that grace might increase? The same basic thing. If you are having a bad day, do something, right? Give yourself grace and say, okay, I can't do it all, but do something. Do something. Absolutely.
Look at yourself in the mirror every day when you brush your teeth and say, I am an active, healthy individual. I might not have done it for 20 years, but I am now because I'm sick and effing tired of what was. And the nice thing about brushing your teeth in the morning is that you are reborn every day. And so you get to create who you are and who you're going to be and what impact you're going to have on the world and on yourself every single day. So when you're brushing your teeth, decide what kind of day you're going to have. If you're hungover, say, man, I'm hungover as a saggy sack of balls. It doesn't matter.
Saggy sack of balls. Just like, no, I'm sorry. I won't go there again.
Or you say, it ain't going to happen now. I'm lucky to drag my saggy butt cheeks to work. But after work, I am going to put on my gym clothes at the office. Life hack, by the way. I used to be a corporate guy. Put the gym clothes on at the office. And then if you arrive home without them being sweaty, you're going to feel like an asshole. So the point is, put them on at the office. You're going to end up at the gym. You're going to be real mad that you're there because you want to be cuddling with your dog having a bottle of wine.
There you go.
As you're at the gym and in the clothes, you're going to end up doing more than you thought you would. And that is how you become consistent. And
let me give you another reason to do that. When you get to the end of your work day and you're at the office and you change into your sweats to go work out, you're telling everybody it's the end of the day. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
That too,
right?
For the workaholic cultures, a lot of people that have to still go to work in a
Yep.
brick and mortar, like I'm out.
Yep. That is that's part of good habits. It's very easy. There are a lot of things that can distract you from doing your workout. Work is one of them. And that's no better than any other excuse. We do have another question from Lester here. This one is a little bit beyond me. Talking about omega-6s and omega-3 fatty acids. Can you speak to this at all? I don't know too much about this. I know you get some of those from fish. I like fish, so.
I'm going to speak to this. Know what you know and know what you don't know. This is a question for a certified dietitian or nutritionist.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm a fitness nutrition specialist. So when it comes to nutrition as it relates to fitness, that's me. Love the question, but I want you to redirect it to a professional that can give better advice than I can. It's really important, I think, not just in avenues like this, but in life, to know what you know and know what you don't know and tell people along the way. So I'm going to tell you, that's beyond me. But what I will say is that getting things like salmon, flax, chia, whether it's in the seed form or the meal form, because sometimes when it's ground up into meal, you can put it into your smoothies and things in a way that's easier to digest. If you're somebody that doesn't like to eat those healthy type things, you can blend them in a meal form and add them with frozen berries, antioxidants, stuff like that. And you can have a really nice shake with those things that really help your performance and your overall well-being.
Absolutely.
So, I want to share that is what I do know. And for what I don't know, I would highly recommend seeking a professional that knows more than I about that specific thing.
There you go. Another question from PJ. Can you share a success story of anyone you have coached that means a lot to you? Of course, no names.
Sure. I love her so much. She's been with me for 10 years, came to me at 72 years old. In her mid to late 50s, she was a nurse practitioner and had her back completely go out. She couldn't do her job, and she realized there was a problem. So she started doing Pilates classes, and that helped her get functional again. And after doing that for a while, once a week, at 72, she got a flyer from a gym that I was training my private clients at. But the owner of the gym said, James, take some of my clients. We had a really good response off of the market. I said, yeah. So I took her. It's at age 72. She had never done a single strength training class in her life. She's been my client for 10 years. And God, if I could show you what I can show you what she can do. Do you mind a quick little camera setup?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to move you back, and I'm going to lengthen the tripod, so it's going to get weird and ugly for a minute.
That's okay.
But this woman has been with me for 10 years, and she couldn't do a proper squat.
Ugh.
And after 10 years, I have her doing stuff where my 30-somethings go, are you crazy? And I'm like, no, you can do this. And I don't tell them that my 80-something-year-old does this. But after they accomplish it, I say, hey, she can do this, by the way. So I have her taking, this is my setup. So I'm going to set up here. This is an 82-year-old woman who did her first strength training class at 72. Can you see me in frame, Troy?
Your head is cut off, but I can see your body.
Body is important right now.
Uh-huh.
Yes?
Yep, you're good.
Good. So she pops into a side lunge, comes out of it, catches her balance, and does like a little curtsy lunge. And then
wow!
Look at that.
72 years old, and I can't even do that.
I can't do it now after the wine I've been drinking.
There you go.
But what she, so right now what we're working on with her is explosiveness, because she doesn't have any pop. And
right.
Get older, the two things that diminish are balance and explosiveness. And within every muscle, by the way, this is good for your viewers to learn, there's 4 types of like muscle fibers: fast twitch, slow twitch, and different types within. As you get older, it's important to continue after a good long warm up to do explosive things like a squat jump, right? Stuff like that. And then to also work on single leg balance, like stick a leg out and do a nice balanced squat down. Focus on that. So the point being,
that hurt just looking at it.
The point being is that as you get older, keep staying active, keep moving, and it's never too late to start. So I'm going to pull the tripod back down to viewing mode for the rest of our viewers, but I just wanted to share that with you and say that that is my greatest success story of someone that could not do a proper squat mechanically well, and now she's doing crazy stuff like that I can't do after a few glasses of wine. And
well,
so,
it sounds like that's a testimony too to what you were saying about taking your advice and doing it,
yes.
And doing it with the purpose of achieving your goals. Sounds like she went after it and she made it happen for herself.
She did, and she's done that for the last 10 years. And then I have like a roster of exercises that I love to use for my clients, depending on what demographic they're in and what situations they're dealing with. And I decided to go into the vault and be like, what haven't I done with you in a while? Because I see you twice a week, been seeing you for 10 years. Let's do something new. And I'm like,
and they're in the back of their mind, they're going, no, please no burpees. Please no burpees.
Well, she's 80. I wouldn't make her do that. But I saw something and I thought to myself, well, we haven't done this in a while. And she couldn't do it. And I said, you used to be able to do this. I taught you how to do this. So as a point of pride, as a point of being like, okay, she can't do it anymore. Why can't she do it? Where has it failed? What's the failure point? Now, the way I just described that is the way that I would like everybody listening to this show to look at their bodies. If they try to do a YouTube fitness class, or they try to tag along with a friend to some other class, that is in town or whatever it might be, if you can't do it, don't just be like, I can't do it, and get on this ego trip of, oh man, I'm out of shape, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm a loser. No, I want you to look at it as a scientist and go, okay, I couldn't do that. Why can't I do that? Why couldn't I do it? Because that's what I ask my clients. What failed? So when I have people hold elbow plank, forearms, bows and toes, as we call it, elbows and toes. Was it your shoulders? Was it the stomach? What was it? Where did you feel it? And I will assign exercises and expect someone to feel it in a certain place, but that's a fool's errand. You got to ask the client, where are you feeling? And if they're not feeling it where they're supposed to, why not? And then it's my job to fix it. So whether you're with a personal trainer, a physical therapist, a chiropractor, or an acupuncturist, I implore you, save your money and get with somebody that asks the right questions. And more importantly, I want you to be investigators and explorers of your own body and ask the right questions of yourself. When things aren't working right, don't just say, well, I have a tough time doing this. Why do you have a tough time doing this? Do you feel weakness around the elbow? Does your hurt? Do you feel like, what is it? And then if you go and see a doctor, you can provide more accurate information that can help them help you.
Real quick, want to say goodnight to Gorilla Random Thoughts. Thanks for hanging out with us. And then, Disney Sheepherder brought up something, and I've heard a lot about this. I want to bring this up. He says water, plenty of it. Absolutely, that's true. We were talking about that. I think the reason he dropped that was because we were talking about, the running in hot weather and stuff like that. But something a dietitian told me, tell me if this has been your experience too. If you're hungry, you might need to eat, but first drink some water, because you might actually just be might just be thirsty.
Correct.
Huh.
I think that's a thing that I don't want to call it a hack, James. I don't like. I feel funny about saying hacks, but it just is a thing that is how your body works and understands hunger and thirst. And a lot of times, your body gets hungry, but it's really because you don't have enough water in you. You've gotten thirsty, and it's like, well, if I eat, I'll get hydrated too. So, just feed me. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Let's get some water in you first, and then see if you're still hungry.
Troy, a hack is only a hack because it takes what decades of science have riddled out in really hard to read documents and
gives it to you in bite-sized
with a
format.
brief
Yeah.
that do this.
Yeah.
And they took all that science and whittled it down. Speaking of which, I'm going to sneeze sometime.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. So when it comes to water, there might be another.
Yeah, they never come one at a time after a certain age.
So when it comes to water, I'm going to tell you this after I drink some wine.
Wine, yeah, absolutely.
Your pee should be almost clear all the time. How's that for simple?
Let me add on to that. If it's consistently yellow, you are at a very high risk for kidney stones.
Yes.
Trust me, you do not want that to ever happen to you.
Male or female.
Male or female.
I've had them, he's had them.
Yes, Netter has already confirmed for me that she would rather go through childbirth again than passing a kidney stone. Drink water, believe me. And real quick, wanted to say hi to Maria Tiantelli. She wanted to come say hi. She's always there in the cashew gallery, and she's here to say hi to you now.
Hello, welcome.
Speaking of cashews, I have a question I'd like to ask our guests. Are there healthy snacks? I know Americans like to eat a lot of snacks. Are there healthy snacks that you can snack on, like I guess like nuts or something like that?
Good options, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I would say that one thing we didn't get to in today's show that I want to talk about is when I ask my clients to keep a 4-day log of everything they eat and drink other than water. And it's only 4 days because I don't want it to be a discipline test. I want it to be a knowledge test. Eat as well as you know how to for 4 days. And they do the best they can for 4 days. Nobody eats enough vegetables. You go out to a restaurant and it's a seafood pasta with whatever vegetables. The vegetables are like a garnish and afterthought.
Yeah, true.
Huh?
It's true. It's absolutely true.
The vegetables should be half of what's on your plate. And I have some clever ways to do that, which I can talk about in a moment. But when it comes to healthy snacks, think about what is a universal dip and what is a vegetable I can dip in it. Carrots and peanut butter, man. That's a good way to go.
Huh.
I'm serious. Because it's a healthy fat. It's got protein. The carrots, everybody says, oh, carrots are high in sugar. Not as high as everything else you eat.
Yeah, it's not like it's candy or strawberries or, any other number of things that are literally sweet,
And strawberries, by the way, have the most vitamin C of any berry, and they are a approved food in my book.
Actually, they're not technically berries if you want to get, scientific, but we think of them as berries, so that's fine. Well, that's like the whole thing about tomatoes are technically a fruit. Who gives a damn?
Point being is good for you or not good for you.
Right. You're right. You're right. I'm being pedantic because it's funny.
I love you, Troy. I love you, buddy.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna slap you and take that hat off and do.
You absolutely well. You do, and people go blind. See, what?
Whoa! Oh, he's not balding. He's bald.
I'm bald. Well, if I let it grow, I do have hair up there, but I shave it all off because I'm like, look, I'm not going to do the comb over.
I won't let him.
She won't. Well,
Thank you,
good. But I wasn't going to anyway. And okay, quick side story. Okay, so we went into here by us. We went into a sub sandwich place, a Mr. Submarine, and when we walked in, you know, they had those CCTVs, the cameras behind you, looking at everyone that comes in, and you can see yourself up on the TV. And I looked, and I'm looking at the back of my head, and I see this big bald spot. And I said, Netter, I got a big bald spot back there. She's like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't know that.
Way before you did, brother.
She's like, yeah, I thought you knew. I'm like, well, how would I know? And it really bothered me. And I was like, should I do something about it? And for a very, very, very brief time, I started putting on, you know, the Grecian formula. And I was like, oh, you know what? Screw this. And I went and got clippers. And I just took it off. I said, you know what? I'm not going through all that crap. You know, and now I don't have to worry about haircuts anymore. It's done. You know?
Done. Just beard trims.
But I did see the widow's peak happening in the front here too. So I was like, it was retreating this way. It was disappearing back here. I said, screw it. I'm gonna just shave it off.
Netter.
Yes?
You trim his beard personally?
No, he trims his own beard.
Why is
He won't let me
that?
touch his beard.
He's some amazing, taking a page from Dr. Marissa's Straight Talk, I think that could be some fun foreplay. Why don't you trim his beard for him every now and again?
I'll tell you what, when she used to give me haircuts, that was fun. that was yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I do kind of miss that. That's a very good point.
It's only because his face was boob height.
Well, that's true.
What? What?
Boob height.
Right in my face. She's getting in my face as she's cutting my hair. See, you know. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know.
For a church-going gal, she's
I got a theory. I think everyone likes boobs. Even other women, even gay men. Now, I'm not asking anyone to confirm that for me, but I'm just guessing that. How's that?
I said, I'll confirm it, but I got a story to tell if you let me.
Please.
Sure.
How much wine have you had to drink? Are you ready to tell this story? I don't know.
I mean, it's not if I'm ready. It's, do you need me to be not ready to tell it?
Go for it.
So, yeah. I don't, people have told me that I don't present as a typical gay man.
Not stereotypical.
Right.
No, you're not stereotypical. Yeah, you're not flamboyant.
I don't
Right.
really do that.
I had a gay friend who once told me a joke. He said, do you know why gay guys go like this? I said, no, why do gay guys go like this? He goes, because it's fun.
Right.
I'm like,
People got a big
I get that.
white stick stuck up their ass. And Netter, unfortunately for you, married to I guess Troy's a straight man. They all got this stick stuck up their ass, and it's no good. Sorry, you're church-going lady. But what I'm thinking about this,
Go ahead, that's fine.
I did my good. I tried. And it
That's
didn't.
fine.
So then I was left with knowing, like, yep, I like men. That's the way it is. So that's the quick and dirty.
Yeah, and I would,
Not the nice and fun.
if this is a topic that's of interest to you, go over to Dr. Marissa's channel, watch her stream from yesterday, really. He does talk a little bit about that. I mean, we all have different backgrounds, different experiences, and, what is it? Different things float different boats, so, I mean...
Yeah, I've been married to this jamoke for 31 years.
Yeah. She's kind of gotten... Well, look, I've always said, I must be doing something right because she hasn't smothered me in my sleep yet in 31 years. And she knows where I sleep, right next to her. So,
Having met him for the first time, I got to tell you, he's a likable dude on there. I've seen his comments.
I like that. He's a likable dude on air. He acknowledges that I might be different off air.
And he said that she hasn't smothered you in your sleep yet. As long as she doesn't Lorena Bobbitt you, I think you're okay.
Oh,
You know, I kind of, well, I mean,
I'm wondering how many
That's
youngins
not
in the
fun for
chat
what-
know what
yeah, how many people who still know who Lorena Bobbitt is?
I'll
How
never
many of you?
forget. Okay.
Well, every man that knows who Lorena Bobbitt is, their knees just went boink,
Yes.
right? Okay, let's. Yeah, exactly like that. Bingo.
That'll be good old days this Sunday, Lorena.
Another reason for you to make sure you check out Adam the Amazing Zombie Killer. Just saying.
No, you son of a bitch.
I told you I was gonna get you. I told you I was gonna.
He knows your mom?
Oh yeah. He knows my.
I've done much better acting elsewhere, folks. I've done it, I swear. You gotta see it. It's elsewhere.
Honestly, okay. Completely off topic, but I want to talk about this real quick. So I've been going on about the one movie of yours that I saw, which honestly you're in, blink and you miss it. It's a great movie for what it is. I think a lot of people in my audience would really enjoy it. But you have a whole list of films on IMDb. If you're going to recommend one, which one should we watch?
God. It's all like one-liners and stuff. I always get pegged to play people that are the young version of them as real folks.
That's kind of neat.
Did you know that Chevy Chase ruined my first on-camera gig? Chevy?
Huh.
Are you on IMDb? Do you see that?
Knowing what I know about Chevy Chase, that doesn't surprise me, but I'd love to hear that story.
Here's
Okay,
the story.
spill.
So I was hired to play young Chevy Chase in this, let's call it a comedy, where it's hard economic times, and Chev and Beverly D'Angelo, same couple from like the
the vacation movies.
yes. Their kids go on hard times, and they have to move into their tiny house, and they're all together, and hilarity ensues. Including him stapling his nuts to a tree. But it never got aired, and it never happened because he was such and I'm okay saying this on this radio show because he cost me a job, and if you're going to be an asshole and cost other people jobs and work, I will call you out.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I've heard about him. So, yeah.
Director Chris Columbus would not work with him. That's what I'd heard.
Yep. So I was cast to be young Chevy. And in my scene, he's writing memoirs of a grandpa. I sound like the old man, and I'm typing grandpa. And he's typing, he spills coffee. And then it cuts to me. So anyway, I met the woman that was to be the love of my life, and then it cuts to me, and I'm on Pacific Coast Highway, and I swing the surfboard off the car. I'm like, great day. Swing the surfboard around, and I knock over my wife-to-be who's roller skating along PCH, and then it cuts to her waking up, and I'm like, hello, how you doing? And then she's like, oh God. And Chevy is narrating the whole thing. So that was to be the scene, and then they established me as the guy for any cutback scenes.
Cool.
So, like, great. Anytime they go back to his past, it's going to be me. But Chevy Chase was such an asshole on set that never happened. The grandkids. And I'm okay calling this out because any actor that behaves in this way deserves this. If anybody's listening that can...
I don't disagree, yeah.
He made the grandkids, which were children, right, playing the role, he made them cry on set.
Wow.
He also felt to learn those lines. He made PAs hold up cue cards. And that hasn't, I've been out here for 14 years doing this. I've never heard of an actor having cue cards on set. And Chevy insisted they have it. So the only reason that I got to tell you what I told you about my scene, and this is Small World, and this is actually not personal trainer advice, so to speak. I'm spinning around.
That's okay.
I can do that just for visual effect.
Yes.
The only reason I'm sharing this with you is because if you are living in a city and you feel like you're small and the city's big, my advice is this. If you live there long enough, you can make it small. What was I talking about?
You were talking about Chevy Chase and acting, and the original question was, what's your favorite acting role on your IMDb list?
Oh, well, that was Feud with Ryan Murphy, where I got to act off of Susan Sarandon, Jessica Lange, and Alfred Molina, Dr. Octavius from Spider-Man. They were all on this around the table scene, and I was playing a young version of Bruce Stern from 1962.
Okay, so that's Feud from 2017, episode number 6.
Yes.
Cool.
So definitely check that out and know that was his favorite role. But go on with your story.
I want to talk shade on Chevy Chase for being somebody that cost CBS $1 million and everybody that was on there to do it. I'm a positive guy, but when somebody brings that much negativity, they got to be held to account. Got to hold them to account.
I agree. And making kids cry for no reason, that's just... Look, one of the stories that I was never a huge Jack Nicholson fan, but I had heard a story told from the kid that played the boy in The Shining. He said he had nothing but great memories of Jack Nicholson, and it wasn't until years later that he even found out he was in a horror movie. And it was a big part of it was because Jack Nicholson went out of his way to make sure that first the kid was not on set when anything really disturbing was happening. And he said there was one time, I think it was related to or around the axe cutting the door scene. Obviously, he was doing that when Shelley Duvall and the kid weren't even there on set.
Right.
They're filming him doing his thing. Well, he's doing his thing, and the kid showed up on set, and he wasn't supposed to. And he turned, and he started doing a dance with the axe. And I'm like, and it's silly, and it's goofy, and you laugh about it, and it's like, yeah, that's a great spirit for an actor to have. To care enough about, And the kid said, he's like, yeah, it was years later I saw this movie. And I'm like, holy crap, this is scary.
I have one more story to share along those lines about stars being good people and about that reminding us to be good people in our own journeys and lives. I heard that Tom Hanks on Forrest Gump, he was in his trailer. They were supposed to shoot. He's like, what's the holdup? What's going on, guys? And they're like, well, the kid can't talk like you. Like, we have the accent coach. We've been working with him for 4 hours. You just can't get it. And Tom goes like, who's the kid? Is he like, where's he from? And then like, no, he's a first timer, but he's local, so he's got the local accent. And Tom goes, I'm the professional actor. Let me learn his accent. Why are you delaying production? So he went down there and he hung out with a kid, grabbed his hand, said, let's go to Crafty. Let's get some food, some ice cream. Talk to me. So we spent an hour with the kid. So after 6 hours of production being delayed, spends an hour with the kid. He's taking it. He's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. But meanwhile, his actor brain is like taking it off.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Gets right on set and nails it. He's like, I'm the guy that was nominated for an Academy Award in Philadelphia last year. Mm-hmm. Why don't I learn his accent? Why are you guys delaying production trying to get this poor kid to learn
to sound
to talk? Because, and this is celebrity worship, Tom had come up with his accent for the role. And Tom, in an hour and a half, changed his whole dialect.
Wow.
For everything. Based on the way that this kid talked in an hour.
That's professional.
For months.
So
it's like I was a movie extra.
Yeah.
I was in Poltergeist 3, so my icon is my picture
Yep.
from Poltergeist 3.
We did a watch party on her channel of the movie just so we could point out her one very brief scene in Poltergeist 3, but it was filmed in Chicago, so
yeah,
absolutely.
If you've seen Poltergeist 3, it's the scene where the aunt has just gotten the kids off to school. She's going up an escalator, and then she turns left and she ends up in an art gallery. I'm right behind her.
Yep. Sin heard that Chevy Chase is a huge turd.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. That was a Motorsports Unlimited girl.
I really did not Orville Nation, does James know that Troy spends his days speaking Klingon? That's not entirely true, but I do speak a spattering of Klingon. That is true. Absolutely.
I'm an aviation geek. If there's an air crash investigation that, like, I am a geek for anything aircraft related.
Yeah.
I nerd them.
I'm going to take one last question, and it's the one that I really, really didn't want to highlight, but I'm going to do it. PJ is asking your opinion on energy drinks.
Yes.
You have an opinion. Okay, let's move on. No, go ahead.
No. From personal opinion, and I'm going to go back to what I talked about earlier about regulating your metabolism. Hydration and sleep are key. If your pee is almost clear all the time, and if you are sleeping people need anywhere from, most people, think about it like the bell curve.
Yeah.
80% of people need 6 to 9 hours a night.
Right.
So as long as you're in that pocket and you're getting that, when it comes to sleep, don't adjust the time you go to bed and the time you wake up by more than 1 hour, number one. And number two, your pee should be almost clear all the time. And if you do those two things, your metabolism will be working in your favor to help any dietary changes that you might make along the way. So my biggest thing is stay between a 3 to a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of starving and hungry. Never be starving, never be full. Always be between meals. Now, I can just look at you, Troy, and tell that you love the satisfaction of it because you're a guy who loves life. You love the feeling of being full after a good meal. Let's say that would be 5 pieces of pizza. I want you to eat 3 and put the other 2 away and say, I'm going to eat in 2 to 4 hours. It's no big deal. So my big metabolism hack is never be starving, never be full. Pretend that your metabolism, which is what governs your entire health, wellness, and homeostatic weight, is a coal-burning furnace. If you put too much coal in at once, you suffocate the fire.
That's right.
Out. If you don't put enough coal in, fire goes out.
Yep.
Never go more than 4.5 hours without eating. All right? And when you do eat, don't fill it up because otherwise you're going to suffocate that fire. So that's
Good
my
point.
advice to the audience. Sleep well, hydrate regularly, pee should be almost clear all the time, and never be starving, never be full. If you just do those 3 things, you can eat whatever you're eating, drink whatever you're drinking, and you're probably going to lose some weight. But on top of that, if you want to get better, let me just close it out by saying these other things. No added sugar. Whatever you're eating, no added sugar. And no white flour. Carbs are fine, as long as they've got a lot of fiber and protein in them. And you should eat those carbs before you do exercise, because that's going to fuel your performance. So that's the carbs thing.
There you go.
The last thing is veggies. Nobody eats as much veggies as they think they are. Half of what's on your plate should be vegetables. And the best way to do it is buy a big bag of spinach, put it on the bottom of your plate, whatever meat and veggies you cooked up in the skillet, throw it on the spinach, it wilts it. It's got the garlic, the seasoning, the flavors, whatever. It's there, it's done, it's good. So those takeaway tips for our crowd.
I'm so glad you said that because I got to be honest with you. I can't stand cooked spinach or steamed or boiled or really, if you give it to me raw or like you just said, put the food on top of it and that's the maximum, I can live with that. But my mom used to cook, I don't know what she used to do, but it was wilted and it had garlic and it was, I hated it. But spinach salad was good.
If there's a post-mortem on spinach, I got to tell our audience, or for any green vegetable, because half of your diet should be vegetables, and half of those vegetables should be dark leafy greens.
Right.
And dark leafy greens taste good. My advice is this: lemon, really good olive oil, fresh grated Parmesan cheese, like really go for it. And if you like veggies, I don't need this. I get the cheap,
Yeah.
excuse me, I get the cheap crap.
No,
But
that's fine.
but if you don't like veggies, get the best Parmesan cheese. Grate the big sheets off of that. Get some fresh squeezed lemon, right? Get some, like roast the garlic, shed it a little bit, put it on that spinach. Garlic, lemon, and Parmesan cheese is it. And that
I am so with you. And look, see over here. See the vowel at the end of my name? You know he's talking my language, talking Parmesan cheese. Look, let me add on to what he's saying. Look, if there's anything you're eating and you're not enjoying it, why are you eating it? Is it worth the calories that you're taking in? And so what you just said about Parmesan, if you're buying the pre-grated or even worse, the eraser crumbs in the jar, don't even bother. It's not worth the calories. Get yourself a brick of fresh Parmesan, grate it. If you can't take the time and energy to do it, you don't deserve the Parmesan. Same with the garlic. Don't get the powder. Don't get the pre-chopped. If you can't peel and chop your own fresh garlic, it's not worth it. Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Now that's
enjoy your food.
I gotta reach out. We're passionate food people, but I gotta reach out to the people that barely have time to take care of their kids, their job, whatever. So I'm gonna say this: if you just need a damn meal service, I'm gonna pump the one that I do, and I'm not getting paid for it. I want everybody to know that.
Not a paid stream here, guys.
Factor 75. I like their meals, but what I do, because the sauces are creamy, it's kind of fat heavy, but it's not carb heavy. So I open up. They say split, the plastic film before you microwave it. I peel it open and I stuff in spinach or broccoli and or mushrooms. I slice the veg, I stuff it in there so it's more veggie rich. And they say it's 2 minutes to heat meat. So I cook it for 3 because of all the extra stuff.
Right.
And the sauces that come with the factory meals are so delicious. Veggies all go in there, and then I'm actually achieving a 50-50 veggie to meat and carb or whatever else rate. So I will say, and I do have, if anybody wants some discounts or whatever, they send me all this stuff. They all expire before I can use them. If anybody wants them, Troy, please send them to me. I'll go ahead.
Will do. That's actually a great pivot point as we start to wrap up the stream. One more time, Netter, can you drop that email address where they can reach out to James? James, you want to pitch? I know you talked about you do online training sessions, you do some other services. Anything you want to pitch or talk about with my audience?
It's very simple. The first 60 minutes is on me. So if there's anything you want to work on with your health, fitness, or nutrition, reach out to me via the email address that you're about to see. Contact me. I want to get to know you, and let us both see if we're a good fit. And if we are, I'm going to create a complete fitness and nutrition plan for you. So I want it to be a one-stop shop. And just so you know, the prices go on how frequently we meet. So if we meet more frequently, it's cheaper. If we meet less, a little more expensive. But every client gets the same level of care. And that's why it's that way, because I want to take care of everybody that believes in me enough to take care of them.
There you go. And do you also do personal training classes online and stuff like that?
Well, that's what I just talked about.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, yeah.
Are available. If they reach out to me, we'll set up a Zoom, a FaceTime, whatever's easiest. Or if they're in the LA area, we'll meet in person. Most of my in-person business is in people's homes. I used to have a totally private gym like situation, but then after COVID, we're like, I kind of like you, visiting me, and I work out in my pajamas. And so it's kind of been like that ever since. I have 2 clients that still like the gym, but my overwhelming majority prefer me coming to them. So I've been doing that more often, but I do have gyms available both in the Valley and on the West Side. Thank you, Troy, for that.
There you go. Absolutely. So please don't think that just because, we're coming to the end of the show, that's not it. Make sure you go ahead and if you're interested, reach out to James. Great resource. And if nothing else, I hope you're feeling encouraged about you can do this. You can do this. If you want to start today, you can start, chances are most of you need to go to bed now. But then tomorrow morning, after a good night's sleep,
6 to 9 hours. Right.
There you go. Remember, if you're sleeping, you're not eating. So keep that in mind too. So there you go. Is there, I don't want to speak for you, but of course we know every Thursday. At what time is it your time? It's
9 a.m. Pacific.
9 a.m. Pacific, so that's 9, 10, that's 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock for you guys on the East Coast. On Dr. Marissa Pay's channel, he's there for an hour. Her wingman over there, they're talking, mostly it's like you're talking relationships and dating and stuff like that, right?
We talked about the 3 dirty words, I love you, the last week. I mean, when to say it, when not to say it, when it means nothing.
Dude, let me tell you something. I don't think Netter saw that stream. I'll have to have her go back and watch it. But I'll tell you and me, we were simpatico on that one.
We
Show
were.
the Valentine's Day card.
Well, I think he sees it over my shoulder here. I know my audience has seen it. For Valentine's Day, she said, "Happy Valentine's Day from the best decision you ever made." I'll tell you, buddy. It brought tears to my eyes because it's so damn true. She really is the best decision I ever made. No doubt about that. I think everybody that knows us knows that.
Let me see her up close and personal. Give her a little kiss on the cheek for us, huh? Come on, Netter.
Come on. He wants to see me give you a kiss on stream. You got to come to me.
No, I have to give you a kiss on stream.
Well, however you want to look at it.
Okay, I'm not wearing makeup, so you can't see my face.
She doesn't There you go. We got to get you a filter so you don't have to worry about makeup. But seriously, yeah. But we were talking about that on Thursday, talking about, what does love mean to you? And I think you and I were right on it. It was about putting the other person first, and I just feel like we got a little bit of pushback on it. I'm like, look, what's you guys remember that old country song? You gotta sing like you don't need the money in love, like you'll never get hurt. You gotta dance, dance, dance like nobody's watching. It's gotta come from the heart if you want it to work. You can't just dip your toe in and think, I'll take a dabble. No, you gotta make that jump. And you know what? You'll get hurt a couple times, but eventually you find the right one, you hit the jackpot.
One thing I was lucky enough to learn in my psychology majors at University of Virginia is that human beings underestimate their ability to adapt to hard times, and they also overestimate how good they're going to feel when something good happens. And they tested this with lottery winners.
Yep.
And they did like a study for like 30 years. And I was lucky enough to go to a great school that had a great psychology department. Never did anything with it professionally, except I've kind of gleaned all the things that I learned and tried to be a better personal trainer, gabber of BS and actor in between. But I think the takeaway is leap and the net will appear. Have a little faith in the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's why, going back to your guys' faith in Scripture, which I don't exactly have, you just got to believe. And if it's in a higher power, great. And if it's in your own abilities that you might not have discovered, that's just as good too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always the secret to success is always a leap of faith. Whatever that faith might be, it's going to take a leap of faith of some kind.
Yes. Hey, whether Jesus is real or not, for those who don't read the Bible, who cares? He was a cool dude. He did a lot of good things. Be Jesus-like, and your life's going to be pretty good if you treat people in the way that Jesus did.
Yep. What did I say? I said when it came to this channel, I said I was going to treat PJ's advice as if it was Holy Writ. He could be a goofball schmo, but I'm going to go after it and see if it doesn't work for me. It's a little bit of a leap of faith. And look, I know PJ's a schmo, but that's beside the point.
How else would he get all these followers if he didn't say some dumb shit after a glass of meat every night?
And that's a great, you were just talking about maybe not feeling as good as you thought you would, when you have the success, right? Just last week, I put out a post on Twitter. Hey, I hit 1,000 subscribers. I thought it would be more exciting than this, but it's a milestone, so yay me, That's exactly what you were saying. I thought I'd be more excited.
99?
Huh?
Troy, it's just a number between 999 and 1001. That's all it is, baby.
That's exactly right. That's exactly true.
They get to know it.
But it's a step that needs to be taken to get to my ultimate goal, building the channel, monetizing it, maybe making this, a career for me, But
it is a point of celebration, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, hi, Lady V. Glad you're here. She says, Troy, oi, 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 oi. She echoes. That's you. That's what you got going. Again, Dr. Marissa. Thank you to Dr. Marissa for putting us together. Thank you for PJ for putting me with Dr. Marissa. Otherwise, we wouldn't have James here. James, want to have you back anytime you want. I mean, this was just so much fun. And if you want to talk more with my audience about this, that's great. If you want to talk about dating, we could talk about that. If you want to talk about acting, we can talk about acting. Netter and I both have a little bit of acting experience.
I actually had dropped a link to I guess you would call it
We did a promo for a buddy.
And
yeah.
You could tell which one is Troy. He looks like him. But see how many times you could spot the Netter. Because
she played a guy. She played several women. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I played a nun.
She played a nun. Yeah.
I played the nun with a Chicago Irish accent. Because my
accent.
accent suddenly came out while I was practicing my lines, and
they said we like it. Go for it.
Yeah, and then I'm at least 4 different guys.
Yes.
See if you can figure out which ones I am.
Including wearing them. It was weird. It was a weird day on set.
Because I had short hair, and we had limited people to do this, so it was just like changing my clothes, putting on a fake mustache, wearing a hat, putting on a wig, something so that I looked a little bit different.
You've worked on projects like that, haven't you, James?
Did you know that I played Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but not across the screenway, an actual stage production?
Wow! I could totally see that. I could see you doing that. That would be. I bet you got the legs for it. You really.
How do you do? I see you met my favorite candy man. Don't get strung out by the way I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's enough of that for now.
Tim Curry on social media, he dropped a post. It's that line about Antissa, and then he didn't post again for over a year. And a year later, his post was patient. I'm like, dude, that is just so meta. That's brilliant.
Big.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone wants to watch The Keeper of the Sins promo video, I did put it in the chat, so you have to scroll up a little bit. But also just head over to my channel, and it's there.
I've got it on my guest appearances too. It's the first one there, so you could check it out.
Mine's on my guest appearances. I think it's the 4th one on mine.
So, real quick, let me do the rundown because we're done tonight. Tomorrow night, all of you guys come on over to Big Al Presents, where we will be doing a watch party of The Villain from 1979 with Kirk Douglas and very, very young Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's going to be an interesting one.
And the Cosme link will be provided for those of you who do not own
so
your
you
own
can
copy.
watch along with us. Absolutely. Sunday, what's going on, Age of Boomer?
We have a lot of things going on Sunday. First, Undeleted Scenes channel. We have, I believe, Western Cinema Presents, and it's going to be Murder at Yellowstone City. That's at 3 p.m. On Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. I would assume 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have an unscripted. The title, it's the official lead-in show to Geeky Geezers. And that's also on Deleted Scenes channel. And it will be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 Central. And the title of it is going to be Caught in the Web. So you can imagine what that is.
Yeah, we know what he's going to be talking about. Yeah.
It's all about sticky fingers.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe yes, in more ways than one. And let's see here, though. And then
your channel,
my channel, Agent Boom channel. That's me. We're having Geeky Geezers, and kind of a weird news week this week. Some off-kilter topics. I think you said the most interesting one, which was all the Vice layoffs, which were
yes, we'll be talking about that.
Also, I'm thinking, spoiler, but I figured I'd tell you ahead of time. I'm thinking Looney Tunes for good old days. We reminisce about the good old days. We'll talk about.
Okay, fair enough.
Looney Tunes, have we? Bugs and Daffy and all that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
That would be a good one.
I picked up a good deal on Looney Tunes cartoons.
We probably touched on it when we talked about Sunday morning cartoons. So let's dig into the
We did that, and we did Roger Rabbit at some point too. But I figure let's just talk about Looney Tunes. And then after,
wait, what was that, James?
You sound like Jason Sudeikis. Just want to tell you that.
There you go.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Jason
and on that note, am I free to leave?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got a dog. I'm dog sitting.
Oh yeah, you have.
You're heading out. Okay. Yeah. No. That's fine. We won't keep you. We were going to say our goodbyes in the background, but that's fine. We'll catch up with you later. In fact, I'll follow up with you by DM later on, James.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for letting me hang out in Troy's court, and I hope that I maybe dropped a pearl or two that was helpful, or not, but nevertheless, hope we had fun.
James, thank the doggos for us for loaning you to us, okay?
Nice to meet you, James.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. And
where were we? So
Other Side of Midnight is after Geeky Geezers, 5 after midnight. And that will be hold on, I have this channel up here. That will be, it looks like Ryan Reynolds. So maybe that's just a free for all. Ryan Reynolds from Drive is the thumbnail, though.
Awesome.
Drive?
I have not.
It's a good movie.
Well, wait a minute. I may have done. I don't remember. But
Carey Mulligan's in it with him. It's got a few other older actors that are known. Guy played Hell, but Ron Perlman's in it as well. I remember that, and it's a
movie where you can actually see his face. That ought to be interesting.
But yeah, and I guess that leads into Monday, which I don't think we have anything going on, right?
No, but Tuesday, of course, those of us here that are left on the panel will be over on Deleted Scenes channel, 7:30 Central, so that's 8:30 Eastern, live from Sparkwood and 21, where we really will be wrapping up the story of Leland and Laura Palmer and moving on to some other stories. It's a heavy episode, so just be ready for that. And that is my hope. I've talked to Deleted Scenes about this already. We will be starting on time at 7:30 because I have to drop like almost immediately after the episode, because at 9 Central, I think that's 10 Eastern, I will be on Rancor Steve's Rumble channel for Manorama. We will be talking about arrogance, a topic that I think needs to be had in the modern day. I will be dropping a link to that stream. Once he's got it set up, I will drop it. Well, of course, I'll share it around on Twitter. I'll drop it in the MeWe group, the Discord, and on the community tab on my YouTube channel. So that is Tuesday. Thursday, what's going on Thursday, Netter of Netters Network?
Thursday over on Thursday Things, my special guest will be Sci-Fi Mombi.
Sci-Fi Mombi. I'm looking forward to that. Been interacting with her a lot on the Twitter. Haven't been able to catch many of her streams because she's overseas and, she's dropping streams like in the middle of the workday, which makes it difficult. But
and of course, I am always looking for guests for Thursday Things. Right now, I'm looking for the second week of April and beyond. So anyone that's interested, you can drop me a DM on Twitter, or you can send me an email. Just make sure that you put Thursday Things in the subject line so I don't think it's spam from somebody I don't know and just delete it.
And also that you have a channel you're trying to grow is the other stipulation.
Right.
Exactly.
You have to have your own. You have a channel with your own content that you're trying to grow.
it's actually Sci-Fi Mombi, Mombi. But I like your idea. I'll have to find out if she is a mom to make that. Make her a sci-fi mom.
I believe she is.
There you go. So she could be a mommy too. Of course, the first question we'll be asking, where did you get the name Sci-Fi Mombi from? But wrapping up the week, coming around to next week, I have not made the stream up for next week, but here's my thought. We've just talked about, eating healthy, diet, and stuff like that. I think food is probably a very important topic, especially right now. Got some things I want to talk about, and I've been putting it off, but I think it's about time we really dig into this one. I want to talk about food autonomy, self-sufficiency, and why it's so important. We're going to talk about big agriculture, government corruption, and the Amos Miller case out of Pennsylvania. That's a big one. And if you don't know what that's all about, well, you got a week to research it. Otherwise, I will tell you all about it next week. Very important stuff. Getting a little spicy with maybe a little bit of political talk next week. But guys, it's important. I think it's really, really worth the discussion. Probably a lot of things you were unaware of. So we'll fill you in. So that is the week in review, guys. Am I missing anything, Ned or Boomer? Anything?
I think you got it.
Okay. Then Netter, you want to take us out?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to make sure that, excuse me, that I mention that if you would please, make sure that you are sub to the panel and to everyone in the chat. And if you think that you are sub to any or all of us, please go back and double check because YouTube sucks and likes to take away our subs, which isn't very nice of them. And with that said, we can talk amongst ourselves and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when, excuse me, I had a little tick in my throat. It is so much more fun when you guys are dropping comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room and enjoying each other's company. And you guys, you're not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys and we appreciate you so very much. You can be anywhere. You chose to be here. That is so encouraging. And I love seeing the same people every week. And even when we have new people, and you guys are so welcoming. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our family. And we'll see you next time. God bless.
Absolutely. Super appreciate every single one of you. And you know what fuels this, right? It's booze. No, that's not true. It's you guys. It really is. But you're also the one that get me the booze. And look at this. How sad is this? My Glenfiddich is empty. I really enjoyed my Rob Roy tonight, but I can't have another one until someone buys me another bottle of Glenfiddich and a bottle of Cokie Americano sweet. So links up there if you want to buy me a drink. But as I always say, you could also specify if you want to buy a drink for Netter, because she's got to be married to me. If you want to buy a drink for Age of Boomer, because he's got to get me home. He deserves a drink after a stream like this. Super, super appreciate it. And you can always, if you want, request a song. But you got to buy me a drink if you want me to sing. Because when I sing, once I get monetized, that stream doesn't make any money. So you got to do the supplying of that.
Exactly.
You guys make this work. But you don't have to. Just saying. Just saying, it would certainly go a long way and it would help. We really do appreciate you guys hanging out with you. This is fun. This is a little this tonight was a little different than it usually is, but I hope you got something out of it, and I think we had a lot of fun along the way. And guys, hope to see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Night.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.